Hey guys, so last time we got the actual form working for the camera, which was pretty cool and very informative. And to say today, we have a bit of cleanup with the subscriptions to do, and then maybe get started on the orthographic. So step one is basically the problem is this guy right here creates a subscription. It really only makes one subscription, so it's not that big of a deal. And there's no use case that I could think of where we destroy this component. But it's just a best practice to get rid of any subscriptions just in case something changes in the future and we are destroying components. Um, so, um, without further ado, we'll get started on that. So let's just create a variable that's going to hold our subscriptions. I'm just going to call it subs as I always do. And it is a subscription and it's an array and it starts off as an empty array. And then in here we say const sub is equal to this. And then, is that right? No, that's not right. There we go. Here we say const sub is equal to this subscription. And then right here, right after we're done, we'll say this dot subs dot push and sub. And so now our sub is in the array. Let me hit the start button. So about 2 minutes bonus time for me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a life cycle hook, and that is the on destroy. So we'll just import it here. Oop. And then we will inform the transpiler that we would like it to implement the on destroy method. And then we need to provide it an on destroy method to implement. And I usually do that right after the constructor. This effect always throws me off. And say ng on destroy. And we'll say this dot subs dot for each. And we're just going to say that sub. Actually, we don't even need the parentheses in that situation. Sub dot unsubscribe. I just like to put a question mark here. Oh, we don't want that. Well, I just don't even think it's possible to create. You can't actually. Yeah, so I think that's safe. Okay, so anyways, there we go. So now we've created our handling of that. So now let's go ahead and create a kind of a variable that's going to determine whether we happen to be in orthographic mode or in perspective mode. So I'm just going to say camera type. And this is a string, but it's a specific string. So it can be a perspective or it can be orthographic. I don't know why, but I pronounce it with an orthographic, but it's orthographic. And we are going to start off as a perspective. And that's awesome. Okay, so then what I think is the best route is maybe have a checkbox next to the show raw data button that is checked if you want orthographic. So if it's unchecked, you get perspective. And I think that's the easiest kind. So I already have this checkbox up here. So selected. So I'm just going to go here. Well, first thing I do is go to the API. Yeah, let's scroll up a little bit and go to the API, and let's go ahead and import our checkbox module. We'll go ahead and put it with the other mat modules. And so that's coolio, as they used to say in the 2010s. And so now we got mat checkbox, and now we can go to our example, and we'll just grab a checkbox. And I don't think we want the module. The model, I mean. And then, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. We don't need the class. And we don't want the module. All right, so let's see what we got. That looks good. And now I'm just going to say that orthographic. That's why I can't spell, because I can't pronounce. Okay, so now we're going to say checked. We want to calculate it. And we actually want to give it a function too, or some logics to calculate based on. So we put this in parentheses. I don't even know if we need, let's just try it without parentheses. And we called it camera type. And we said, and we're going to say that if it's equal to orthographic, that it's checked. So then what we're going to do is, let's see if we click this. So this has probably got a change event. Yep, change. And we're going to say update camera type. And we're going to tell it to send in the event. And we're going to go ahead and create an update camera type. And we are going to take our event and we're going to call it a string. And it returns nothing. And then when we hit save, it's going to bark at us and it's going to say that the Mapbox change event can't be called a string. Are you Are you crazy? Can't be calling that a string. Like, okay, whatever, we'll call it this. And then we have to import it. And boom. Now we can just say event dot checked. And we'll just say this dot camera type is equal to event dot checked. I'm guessing this is a Boolean. Yeah, it's a Boolean. And let's see, question mark. And if it's checked, it's orthographic. Otherwise, I believe we need its perspective. No. Did I? Oh. Orth with an O. See, then I started pronouncing it but in our language, in English, it is often an A. So yeah, it's a mess. All right. So we'll check that. Basically, it's going to be orthographic. And I guess we should double check that behavior by transpile. What is the word for that? Let's see, camera type. There we go. Yep. Okay, so that's working. And then, So now we're going to say if it's editing and if camera type is equal to perspective. So we go like this. Okay. And then else, we'll just go ahead and add our if in here. That's equal to perspective. I got nothing. Okay. And then might as well wire this up. And so, okay. So this is such an interesting thing to me. It's always when I always have to kind of think. Do we want to, okay, let me hit stop before the alarm goes off. Do we want to create new components for these different, for these forms now, because this is getting out of hand, or is there a better time? Is this, and this is one of those weird situations where it's actually going to be easier probably to set up our new components right after we get this working. But if we don't do it, then it's going to get a lot harder. So we have to be disciplined that before we move on to the next task, which we're going to be very excited to move on to the next task, to actually create new components at that point in time. So not to move on to the next tab until we've created new components and managed all that, because something might come up. But anyways, let me finish this stuff real quick. Let's see if editing and this is weird. Oh, because I don't have my two. Okay, and camera type is equal to with an O, orthographic. Maybe that's how I'll say it from here on out, orthographic. And I'll just say editing and camera type, and then else. And I'll say showing. Oh, we need the at. Interpolating, that was the word. Camera type. We're interpolating the camera type. All right, so boom. Editing orthographic, showing orthographic. Okay, so it's all wired up. Went a couple minutes late, like 3 minutes late, but that's cool by me. Thanks, everybody. Happy coding. Bye.